Howdy do, all of you. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Maybe I'll sing this whole time. I don't know what just got into me. Music, song got into me. So I'm on here live on my Photography Inspiration Friday. And this may be a short one. I don't know. It's just me today. But I wanted to share some upcoming things, you know, do a little, not housekeeping, but share some new stuff and talk about what's coming. Some of which I'm not even sure. So I wanted to have a little chat with y'all about all that sort of thing. So as you are joining, and good morning, I see Jeff Jeff is in the house. Any of you remember Romper Room? Okay, I'm really dating myself right now. Best time I ever had, okay? But anyway, Romper Room, Miss Nancy, was it? I think her name, Nancy. Anyway, she had a little magic mirror, and she'd hold it up, and she said, and I see Jeff, and I see Bob, and I see Susan, and like, we'd all be going, oh, she sees us. I don't know. This little memory I had, I thought I'd share with you, but I see you. I actually see you all coming in here. Good morning, Gail Foster. Good morning, everybody that I know. Good morning, Cameron from Scotland. I love it when everybody comes and says good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever. Pop where you're calling from. Calling from, you're not really calling. Dating myself again. Again, best time I ever had. But where you're hailing from. Hail. I love knowing where everybody is right now. So I'm in Nevada. That's where I am. This little piece behind me was in Felton, California. Some of you have asked me about that, where this was from. That's my journey, railroad tracks. Some of my favorite images. So I love having it here. So, and it's a good one to have behind me since we're talking about journey. I guess that's one of the things I'm talking about today. Who knew? So Dan Bailey is in the house. Dan Bailey may have to jump in here and say hello. It's possible. I don't know. He doesn't know I was going to say that. So really today, I didn't plan anything. So this could really either be a train wreck or an awful lot of fun. I personally vote for an awful lot of fun because that's just how I do things. So yeah, Dan, if you want to come in here, jump in here. So anyway, I want to start off with, let's see. I'm going to start off with the future of these Friday Photo Inspiration Lives. They have been going on since last summer, and I'm really enjoying them. But I think I'm going to have to do a little changing platforms. Insta hasn't been so awesome lately. I usually use tuning in from. Yeah, where are you tuning in from? You're right. That's a better way to say it. So as you come in here, you guys, pop in where you're tuning in from. I want to know. Anyway, so the future of these lives is a little in flux, not in that they will go on, but where they're going to go on and how they're going to go and all this kind of thing. I would love, you know, your input now or later or anytime. You can DM me here on Instagram. You can hop on my website, link in the bio. And send me an email. You can snowy Alaska. Dan Bailey is tuning in like a fork from snowy Alaska. And so anyway, so I'm looking at a little different platform. I may switch to Facebook. I don't know. I got a lot stacking up, so I've got to do this thing here at the beginning of the year where I kind of figure out my priorities and where everything goes. So I will keep you guys informed. Next week, I can tell you for sure, I'm pointing at you. Next week, I know for sure at this time, at 11 a.m. Pacific time, I will be presenting for Kenmore Camera. And Gail Foster is in Alberta. Oh my God. Beautiful Alberta, land of heartland. I love that. That's where she's tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from? Tell me. So, but as I was saying, next week, Friday, that's February 18th, in the Northern Hemisphere, 11 a.m. Pacific time, I will be presenting for Kenmore Camera for Fujifilm through Kenmore Camera at an event, which again is in my link, the link is in my bio. So if you want to join us, we're going to be talking about GFX, specifically the 50S, I'm going to be sharing stories. I'm going to be talking about why I use it, like how I think about it, show a lot of images, answer questions. It's going to be really fun. We're calling it Traveling Landscapes because it's all about journey, and it's all about, journeying with our camera gear and our photographs and our vision and thoughts that I have about all of the above. So if you want to join us for that, it's a free webinar, but you have to register. So to register, which is, I make it sound like it's really bad. It's not, it's free. Just register and then show up, and then we'll have a good time and you can ask questions. So I'm going to also open up today for questions. So Q&A today. If I have friends who join and want to, hi from Chicago. Chicago! What is in the house? So join me for Kenmore Camera next Friday. We will not be doing a live. I will instead be with Fujifilm and Kenmore Camera. Link is in the bio. Register, join, and then you can like wave and say, hey, I'm from your world. I love that. Oh, thank you, Cameron. He just popped it in the chat. Dan says, everyone definitely go see Karen at Kenmore. Okay, so come and see me at Kenmore. So definitely no, Friday inspiration. In the meantime, I'm going to figure out what our future is here. If you have a preference, would you come to Facebook? Do you want it on Instagram? I'm curious. I'm just asking. I'm going to do what I got to do, but I also have a few ways to do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? There's always options. So would love to know what you think in that regard. So journey is in the air, journeys and where we're going and how we're going to get there and why we're doing it. I think that's going to be a big one this year, and I'm going to be sharing an awful lot about it in the coming weeks. Dan Bailey, are you camera ready? Do you want to get in here? Not that I'm putting you on the spot or anything, because God forbid I should do that. And maybe Dan Bailey will hop in for 5 minutes and just tell us what he's doing. So Dan Bailey is one of my fellow Fujiiflm X-Photographers. He's a photographer up in Alaska. So even if he doesn't jump in here, go check out his website, Dan, or his Instagram. He's almost camera ready, so he's putting on some makeup so he can get ready. Anyway, check out his Instagram, Dan Bailey Photo, and his website. He's amazing. He has a plane. He flies and photographs and flies at the same time. He's like amazing. And I haven't seen him in ages because, life is crazy the way it is. But see, that's the other great thing about these Fridays is I can have my friends in, as you have seen, many of you who have joined me here on Fridays. I've been having my friends over to talk about what they're doing and how they see the world, and it's really been fun. That's what I love about these Fridays is it kind of brings us all together as a community. So I am trying to find, cooler and better ways that don't take up too much more time in my world because I am so super busy, but this is really important to me. So that's why I like to know what y'all think, even if you share it in the chat, Are you enjoying these? Do you want to see more? What more would you like to see? I'm also going to be sharing more from my art side. So like these are photocentric inspiration. We kind of talk inside out, but we also talk about some, technique. Like last week, Bobby Lane was here, and we learned a lot about creativity and lighting and just how she sees the world, which is so fascinating. And Hilmar Smith was here with her, just incredible vision. So I'm hoping this is opening up your eyes to different things you can do with photography and different ways of imagining and different, when I say ways of imagining, not only what you can do with photography, but with your life, because it's never just one thing, is it? It's always what we do in our art sort of can't help but expand into our lives. And as such, if we really show up with intent and vision, it's going to expand. Slovenia is in the house now. Piotr is in the house. How you doing? Do you want to jump in here? I got a few friends who are showing up now all of a sudden, and I'm like, hey, want to come in? Because like I said, to those of you who are just coming in today, I don't have a guest. I just have me, and I just am kind of freeballing today. but I also had announcements. So the first one is we're going to be making some changes on these Friday lives, maybe changing platforms, maybe adding a platform. Still working that part out. And then next Friday we won't be having one at all because I'll be presenting for Fujifilm through the Kenmore camera huge event that's going on next weekend. So next Friday at this time, 11 a.m. Pacific, I'll be doing that. And if you want to sign up for that, you can. It's free. It's a webinar, and you can ask questions and everything. And it's a special presentation I'm just building right now about, we're calling it Traveling Landscapes. We're talking about GFX. We're talking about vision. We're talking about art. It's going to be great. It's going to be really fun. It's turning out really well. I'm excited. So yeah, link is in my bio if you want to go sign up for that. Comment from the chat. Definitely want to see more of these lives, as we are always learning as photographers and artists. So true. So I want to keep opening up that world, and things are just getting busy enough that I got to think about how to go about it. So you've caught me in kind of a during the headlights moment where I'm like, I want to keep going. I just got to figure out how. So I just love seeing all these faces. Let me see any other. So this is also Q&A Friday. I didn't tell you that. I forgot to tell you that. Q&A. So if you have any Q's, I have some A's. What else? What else we got in here? Great. So questions can be about my gear. I shoot Fujifilm. I'm a Fujifilm professional X-photographer. I have been for a number of years. For those of you who don't know me as such and who are new, hi, nice to meet you. And so I just get on these lives. These Fridays are specifically geared toward photographers. I'm going to be doing other lives upcoming where I'm talking more about art, because I also create a whole other line of art, and I also sell my art, and I have this whole world. I'm also happy to talk about that and all the different, facets of this whole photography art world that I do. It's not just one thing. I try to talk about one thing at a time. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And Dan Bailey, upon that, is going to jump in here. This little beast. You get to meet Dan Bailey, another one of my friends. We're just waiting for him to pop in. He'll pop in a second. Dan Bailey.
Just have to clean my glasses here.
So you can see. Hi.
Hi, Karen. Oh my God.
What you doing? You. Oh my God. I'm so glad you popped in here today. And there you are. It's your perfect storm, your perfect world, your microphone, your photography, and your guitar.
Yeah, I got a new little isolation, like the little diffuser thing.
Oh, look at you.
Absorber.
What brand is that? I got a whole studio of that stuff.
It's SE Electronics.
Yeah.
It's actually same as the microphone.
Nice.
I've had that mic for over 20 years.
Nice.
It's really nice.
That's excellent. So what are you up to? So I just told everybody where to find you, which I'm going to say at the beginning and the end here. But so Dan Bailey Photo here on Instagram, and then your website. Is it danbailey.com or
danbaileyphoto.com?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're very consistent. I love that.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting winter. Well, it's been an interesting couple of years.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I saw you at Photo Plus in 2019. I think that was the last time. Well, that was the last time.
And then it was like whoosh, cut off from everything that we knew.
Yeah, it's been a weird time. It's a little bit of a weird winter. I'm really looking forward to spring. Are you having a big winter or a mellow one? It's a pretty decent winter this year, so we're kind of fortunate. But I actually had a shoulder issue last summer and fall, and so I had 3 months of physical therapy for it. I basically strained my bicep tendon, and then I kept racing on my mountain bike, and then eventually it froze, like got frozen shoulder. So 3 months of PT, but I had a good doctor. My shoulder doctor was Keegan Randall's shoulder doctor. So,
oh my gosh.
So and his son, I guess, is Olympic quality skier too. So
oh
in good hands. I was in good hands, and I had a really good PT, and so I'm pretty much all better. I forgot to,
I'm getting my footstool better organized here so I can get really comfortable. I forgot to mention, because everybody, Fujifilm X-Photographer like me, and musician. In fact, somebody made a comment a minute ago that what did he say? If we ask nicely, maybe Dan will sing us a song. I don't know. I always hate it when people ask me that. So you don't have to. I'm just saying the comment.
I actually, so during the, I've been a musician for most of my life. And
you're a mountain biker. So
I'm a mountain biker. Yeah. And I actually did a 100-mile mountain bike race this summer. It was my first time doing that race. It was my longest single-day mountain bike race ever. The first year in the pandemic, I did a 2-day, 250-mile mountain bike race. So I've been doing a lot of bike riding.
I've done a 100-mile ride on a road bike. I can't imagine doing it on a mountain bike.
The 250-mile took 46 hours. I slept for 4 or 5 hours in the middle of it. And then the 100-mile mountain bike I did in under 12 hours. So
maybe frozen shoulder saved your life. You never know.
Well, my wife would put that KT tape that kind of holds you in place. She would tape my shoulder up before each race. Yeah. So wow. But I'm all better now, and I've been playing more music, and I actually started an Instagram channel just for my music, which is Dan Bailey Music.
Really?
Because a couple of years ago during the pandemic, I decided that I wasn't playing enough music in my life. I mean, I have, the stuff here behind me.
I remember you talking about that. You used to talk about that a lot.
Yeah. And so I would, neglect all that and just like sit at my computer and go take pictures and stuff. So I finally decided to get a little bit more serious about it, although I'm not so serious about anything. But I wrote and did my Dr. Fauci song and music video, my YouTube channel, Dr. Fauci Say. And the song came so quickly that I decided to keep at it, and I didn't for months. But last year, this past year during the pandemic, so that was the first, like as soon as it descended upon us, it was like April, I wrote that song. Well, last winter I worked on some more music, and last May, end of April, I released a full-length album of music.
Wow.
And so I'm continuously doing music. So my latest thing with that is combining music and photography. So I've been doing these Instagram reels on my main Dan Bailey photo channel, where I'll piece together a 30-second or a 60-second video of just clips that I have in my archive, and I'll go out and shoot some stuff and put it to original music. So it forces me to create, just be creative in the moment.
Nice.
And just come up with something that matches the feel of the photos and videos that I'm looking at. And so I find it's almost easier for me to score a piece of video or film, like do a little film score, than to sit down and try to write a really cool song.
Yeah.
Which can take a long time. You take so long to write the song.
Yeah.
And then you got to produce it. Okay. Because I have a couple of songs I want to record, but it's like, well, I got to, make sure I got all the pieces right, all the arrangements set, and then I got to make sure the lyrics are right. And it could take months, or sometimes it'll take years to get a song. At the very least, it's going to take a few weeks or something. But these little Instagram reels, I can sit down and just bang it out. And it really satisfies that kind of instant creativity, like going out and taking a really fun picture.
Yeah.
Imagine, because I'm not the guy, and some people are like this. I'm not the guy who's going to go out and study a subject and say, well, if I come back in 6 months, it's going to be the perfect light and the perfect situation. I like to move through life very quickly. And just capture things. And so like Karen, when she first saw my first presentation and first met me, she's like, you're an outdoor street photographer, which I kind of am. I tend to go through life and do street photography, except with outdoor subjects and bike racing and stuff. So I've been playing more music, and the other big thing I'm doing right now is my own retrospective of shooting 10 years with the Fuji cameras. And so I've been doing my Journey with X series of my YouTube channel, which is YouTube Dan Bailey Photo. And my third episode is going to be posted later this morning. As soon as I get off the chat here,
nice. I probably yanked you away from your whole.
No, I was lying in bed with my tea and my Eddie Van Halen.
Nice. I love it. Got you out of bed, put you on camera. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Well, I've always seen the lives pop up when you do these, and I just haven't clicked on them. And I've never done a live myself because I'm not much of a planner.
Yeah, well, today I didn't plan much either, and so it kind of like it was the perfect storm.
Yeah, and I honestly didn't know how they worked, and so I was like, well, I'll just see what's going on. And there you were, and then you request
I'm
to
here
join.
for you. I swear to God, half the people, like sometimes we plan these and then other times like, I free ball. Sometimes I show post processing, or like today I'm like, I got some changes coming up and I don't know what I want to talk about, but it's going to be good. And whatever it is. And then you were there and I'm like, hey, let's fly with this. This is awesome. But the great thing is, awesome. So the whole thing, the whole like arc of this whole Friday series of mine has been started. It's so interesting that you just said everything you said, because I started it with purpose, because you've been on some of my artistic voice, well, you were in a workshop, and then I have done these retreats, and I talk a lot about, your why and figuring out, who you are. It's like photographer, know thyself, right? And and that leads to just way, way, way better photography, more meaningful and everything. And everything you just said is like right in line with that without even any prompting. That's because, we're alike that way.
We're alike.
We're just like, we're just right there. Okay, we've had a couple comments, because I said this was Q&A. We've also had a whole bunch of new people pop in here. So I just want to say really quickly, thank you for joining us. We love having you here. I'm Karen Hutton. This is Dan Bailey. This is like my little Friday inspiration, series for photographers. I did not plan. So this is perfect that I wanted to have you on here, but you're not a planner. So here you are. And
here I am. This is awesome.
So this is kind of how this is how creativity works
with you, Karen.
What?
It always works out perfectly. It's like the whole meant to be thing, which I don't necessarily subscribe to, but it works. It always, I do believe that things happen not for a reason. I believe in the serendipitous nature of certain events. And
there you go. And that's creative as well. Just like, in fact, you describing your creative process was all part of it too. So I don't know, the perfection of it all just kind of blows my mind. It really does. And I love, so what I was going to say, when you were talking about how you're the kind of photographer that, you like to go out and move through the world, and you're a landscape free baller. I don't know why the word free baller is stuck in my head. Street photographer. But also the fact that you're using the way in which I find it really interesting that, like, and I'm the same way about certain things, that for you can't just sit down and write music, or it takes months or years, because now you're like, now I've got to make music. But when you make music to your images or to something else, it flows. And I do the same thing. Like, I'm building this presentation for next week. By the way, everybody, presenting for Fujifilm at Kenmore Camera next weekend, online. You can register. The link's in my bio. Free webinar. Come join us. We're talking, cameras and vision and inside, outside, all kinds of good things. But in creating this presentation, I can't just sit down and like outline it, and I have to go visually. The stories are in the images, and then I just basically narrate it.
Yeah.
And they have everything packed into them that I can never think to say, but they're all in the images, because that's where it all goes.
I think the way to think about that is, it's like when you sit down, like if I used to experience this with other things too. I'm a writer somewhat, but I used to try to write creative fiction. It never worked. I'm a much more technical writer.
You're a really good technical writer. You guys. If you go to his website, anything you see there that it looks instructional, it's going to be awesome, because he's incredible. I send everybody to him for that stuff.
I mean, I have my 400-page Fuji ebook, X Series Unlimited. So
Do you shoot GFX?
No, in fact.
I had somebody the other day say I should write this. You'll laugh at this. They said you should write a textbook or a handbook on the GFX. I just was like, thank you for thinking that, but.
I mean, well, the thing is that for the most part, it's all the same as the X series. You could get by. I know most of the GFX stuff with my X series ebook. I don't mention that in the book, but most of the menu settings are the same across both series. There's some stuff that's GFX specific that it's not mentioned, but I would say that most of the stuff is in there.
That's one of
no,
the real. That's
I'm
one of
not a
the things I think.
GFX.
Yeah,
I'm
it's one
not
of
a
the really
GFX
good things
shooter.
about Fujifilm. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I just walked all over you. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I walked all over you. We do that.
I got footprints on my face.
Yeah, we're just like. It's been always like this with you, Karen.
I know.
It's fun.
It's a wonder if we get anything done because we both talk over each other all the time.
I know. So Karen and I were invited to do one of the Fuji X Summit workshops that were in the Great Smokies. and there were 4 of us instructors. It was Bill Fortney, Jack Graham, and Karen and myself. And I think when Bill or Jack were up talking, Karen and back.
I always, and then they'd glare at us, and we'd be like, yeah. Sorry.
We're the naughty little kids at the kids table. So terrible. No, I'm not a GFX shooter because I move much too quickly, and I prefer that small light form factor. And actually, the whole point of my retrospective with the X series started with remembering what it was like the first time I ever saw and used the X10. And then, later the X20. And so last week I actually took the X20 out on a couple walks and was shooting photos with it. Uh-huh. And so I did, those are the topics of my first 2 videos. And the one I'm going to post here is kind of the monumental chapter that really got things rolling. So stay tuned for that later this morning. So Cameron, he's my Scotland pillar. So he's posting all your stuff. You'll find Dan's Fujifilm journey on his YouTube channel. And then he posted that, so you guys can check that out. Oh yeah. Thank you for posting. Is that Cameron? Is that C. Weir? Is that Cameron? Yeah, that's Cameron. Okay, hi Cameron. And then the latest. So I have 2 versions of X Series Unlimited. One is the kind of the white and pink cover with a mountain. That's the ebook. That's always the most current because I publish that here. Right. The print book was done by Rocky Nook a few years ago, and that was current up through the XT2. And we haven't updated it yet because apparently there's some kind of a sickness going around the world. I hadn't heard of that. So yeah, I don't know. There's like something that apparently, So yeah, I heard rumors. I saw it on Twitter that there was a. Yeah. So anyway, that one has not been updated yet. But at the same time, most of the settings that were on the XT2 are still on the T4. Yeah, I mean, PDFs are so much more useful, in my opinion, for that, because you can put it on your phone when you're out in the field, go, wait, where's the, right. Then you just open it up, flip to that page, and there you go. Yeah, and the ebook version works great on the phone and the tablets, and it has a linkable contents, and you can go back and forth very easily. But I do say that, some people prefer a print version. Yeah. And so what I tell people is if you do buy the print version, just let me know and I'll send you the ebook version for free. So you at least have all the updated stuff, but you still have most of the stuff in the print version. So somebody comments, Dan is an excellent writer. His instruction is top notch. I would agree. So that's a total. So what? Oh, and then he says, Jack. He says, going back to the Smokies, Jack always glares. He does. He glares. He glares at us. So the one thing that we got sidetracked on and I ran away from very quickly. The reason I feel that I'm a good technical writer is the same reason, the thing I think that we were just talking about with you and your pictures and me with my recording basically mini film scores versus trying to sit down and write a song or write a short story, is I find, and you probably find this too, it's creativity for me comes much more easily when it's a responsive situation. Right. I was going to say call and response. That's kind of how I am too. That's a good way. And so when I'm responding to the light, when I see something, oh my God, this convergence is about to happen. I'm responding to that. If I'm even writing technical stuff, camera manuals or blog posts, I'm responding to ideas that I have that are very specific things. I saw this and I'm responding to some aspect of this, and funny thing, the X10 actually has a lot of the same menus, or rather the newest cameras actually have the same settings that were found in the X10. So these little guys started it all. But do you have, so
Somebody's saying they'd be interested in an update on the XS10. Oh, Cameron's saying.
The latest version does have XS10. I think someone pointed out there might be 1 or 2 settings that are in the XS10 that are not covered. I'm going to look at that, but I usually come out with an update at least once a year, sometimes twice. So I probably will wait till the next something comes out, but I might do an update before then.
Yeah, very cool, very cool.
But yeah, create responsive creativity. When I'm looking at video or looking at footage or pictures, it suddenly incites some kind of an idea or emotion that I can immediately play off of when I'm writing and composing music on the spot.
Right. So what do you think? What would your advice be? I get this one a lot. What would your advice be for people who just feel stuck and they just can't get the juices going? They're not, like, I have to produce. So it's just an imperative because I have, projects and gigs and stuff. But if you don't have that and you're trying to get that, that engine going, and you don't have something poking and prodding you, forcing you to do it, what do you tell people when they are in that spot? Maybe they're busy, maybe they're just depressed, maybe they just feel flat, You just have to kind of clear your mind and just get out there. You have to just I'll do this a lot of times because I find myself stuck. Oh, I'm not flying this month. I'm not shooting cool aerials. I'm not racing my bike. So therefore I'm not out taking those really cool photos. But that doesn't mean I can't just grab this little guy and go for a walk. And maybe it'll sit in my pocket for 80% of the walk and I won't even think about taking pictures, but I'm just going out. And you're just putting yourself in a position where you'll inherently will end up responding to something that happens. Maybe 90% of the walk is finished and suddenly the light changes or you see something that you haven't noticed before. And once you get lost in the process, I'm going to take this picture. And then I find that once you put the camera up to your eye, it all just starts to go away and you'll become lost in the process. And the whole point of just creating for creative's sake, I'm going to just do this little piece of music. I've got this 30-second clip and I'm going to put a piece of music to it. So that's a task-based thing. But sometimes I just get lost and 2 hours later, I'm still composing and trying to make it sound good. And because I'm having fun doing it. And when you take the pressure off of, I have to go out and create these great photos because last month I did go to create some great photos. And so I have to top it this month. And if I don't take great photos this month, then what have I been doing? I can't match last month, but you can just go outside or go wherever and just put yourself in a position where you're just experiencing something, and it doesn't even have to be different because every day is different. Every thought in your mind is different on any given day. Every aspect of every day is different, whether it's your external or internal circumstances. And if you just go out there with a clear mind. So how do you clear your mind? So that's the next question. Then people say, well, how do I clear my mind? You said one thing earlier, which is you just put your camera up to your face and everything changes.
Yeah, I find that once you're doing something that you enjoy doing, whether it's taking pictures or riding bike or even taking a walk, there's an interesting mental thing with walking. Your brain is more active when you're walking than any other time, any other activity. And so
it's the breath too.
Yeah, there's a rhythm to your feet, rhythm to your breath. But just the scientists have discovered this. There's more brain activity that happens when you walk than when you're doing other activities.
Right.
And it probably because walking is so easy and second nature, it frees there's an internal thing that happens. So I've actually written songs when I'm walking. I've come up with creative ideas. But when you just go out and walk, and if you have the camera in your pocket or around your neck, or whatever it is you're doing, once you put yourself in the position of doing something you enjoy, you will get lost in the process.
I know. I go out for walks when I go out for walks and I'm stuck, I just make sure I've got my, I'll end up dictating. If I'm stuck on something, I'll end up dictating the answers as I'm walking.
And I found I might, something really stressful might have happened the day before and I woke up early and I couldn't sleep and I and I'm just not feeling very creative, not feeling very productive, but I'll just sit down and just start writing a blog post. And an hour into it, I'm just lost. Oh, well, I'm reaching for this.
That's so interesting to me. So that wouldn't work.
Or guitar. I can be really stressed by something.
Really?
But when I pick up the guitar and just start noodling, you just get lost. And it's when you're doing something that you truly enjoy, just for the sake of doing it for the enjoyment of doing it, or learning. Like, yesterday I just, I was just like, well, what am I going to do? It's getting dark, and it's dark at 6 p.m. here now. Although we've already gained a couple hours since
I know.
A month ago.
I'm like, it's coming. Summer's coming.
Once you hit February, the light comes back really quickly here in Alaska.
Yeah.
But, just sitting down, and I was like, well, I wasn't writing a song. I wasn't trying to work on anything, but I just suddenly got this idea. Well, I like this Lydian, this Lydian mode is a sharp 4. And so instead of do, re, mi, fa, it's do, re, mi, fa. It's one half step higher. So it's not technically fa.
Right.
So it's actually really inspirational. If you pay attention, you'll see this a lot in film scores where the music kind of has this sharp 4 quality to it. But it's tricky because most of the progressions that we think of, like especially rock and roll, is very simple. It's always 1, 4, 5 based on the major scale. When you add that sharp 4, you kind of complicate things. So yesterday I was like, well, how would I come up with a Lydian chord progression? And so 5 minutes later, I'm lost in the process of, okay, well, I need to find a chord that has that sharp 4 in it that I can play off of the. And so, yeah, just doing something that you enjoy, experimenting with something. What if I go out and take the 56 millimeter lens? I haven't used that in a while. What if I take my old camera? What if I try photographing plants really close? What if anything?
I love what if. Yeah.
One of my readers was, I have this new series on my YouTube channel called Ask Dan. And it's basically people send me questions, photography questions, and I answer them. And most of them, at the top of my head, I just like 5 or 10 minute answer. And I was hoping that people would ask me other questions, like about guitars or airplanes or Alaska or cycling. But so far, nobody's asked me anything that's not photography related, which is fine. But she was mentioning that it all begins with a good question.
Yeah.
And it really does. So anytime you're out in a situation and you put yourself in a potential for creativity and you ask yourself a question, what if I use this lens? What if I try this approach? What if I try to write a progression that's based on Lydian scale and I have to find chords that work with that sharp 4? And so you kind of throw all of those things in the mix, the questions, the what if, the immersing yourself. And that's what I found is no matter what else is happening, as soon as you immerse yourself in the process, the stuff will fall away and your mind will start to shift and clear.
And it does it so fast. That's what people don't realize how quickly.
How fast it can be.
Yeah. People think, it's going to take so long. That's just that voice that wants you to just not do anything. The truth of the matter is it happens like that.
It really does. And the thing that we fight is our own expectations more than anything else in life. And creativity it's not immune to that. Mm-mm. We all have expectations that are based on what we want or what we've done in the past. And when you go out with a camera, well, I took this walk last week and I took this really kick-ass picture of the sunset on these trees.
Sucker.
The light isn't so great today. Yeah. And well, crap, my pictures probably not going to be very good.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to just dispel that. And it's not always easy. And that's, again, what I say, you just have to put yourself in a position and allow yourself to be immersed in the process. Put the camera up to your eye and start twisting knobs and fiddling with settings and just looking.
That's like, I'm going to go back because there's been some comments and questions. But as I do that, I'm going to say that that's what I did today. I was like, I wasn't really in the mood to do this thing today. And I was like, what am I going to talk about? I don't know. I don't even have time to think about it. Let's just go live and see what happens.
Yeah.
Although I did want to tell everybody about next week and Kenmore Camera and the present. And then I won't be doing this Friday because I'm doing a presentation for Fujifilm, Kenmore Camera, link in bio. Join, register. It's a great webinar. So
yeah, I've done the Kenmore talk in person 2 or 3 times, and it's a great forum. It's really fun.
It really is. I really love the way they do things. It's a great camera outfit. Love all the people there. So one of the comments comes from Cameron. I've taken one of my point and shoots out on walks, you know, just because we were talking about walking, and ended up going back to get his S10 and experimenting with black and white. And he never thought about shooting black and white until then. So point taken.
I was in the last video, the second Fuji video that I did recently, my 10-year retrospective, I talked about, you know, when I was shooting with the X20 and the XE1, which, you know, I'm an action photographer. Those early Fujis the colors were amazing, but the autofocus technology wasn't there yet. And so my skills were far beyond what the cameras could do.
Yeah.
So I would have to force myself to find ways to adapt to those limitations.
Right.
And sometimes I would actually create even more limitations. So the example I used in that was I was shooting a cyclocross event, a bike race, really fast moving event. And so I not only am limited by I used just the X20 and the XE1. Not only was I limiting myself that way, I put them both into square mode, square aspect ratio, shot one in miniature mode the entire time and one in black and white the entire time. And so like miniature mode is one shot. There's no, you got to fit for the right moment and then boom, and then processing.
And it's just a little bit, and it's a little bit slow. So it doesn't, it'll create some interesting effects that way too.
Yeah. And it's because it takes a while for the camera to process the picture. And I found that I got some really wonderful photos. I love the shots from that event. And that's one of the fun things to go back through and see all these favorite pictures of mine that were taken with these old Fujis. So it's been really fun.
It's a whole different vibe. Also, you just reminded me, I don't know if it was the XT20 that you were shooting on. It allows you to bracket the advanced settings, right? Or is the advanced setting just one?
The advanced setting for the miniature mode is just one.
Right.
The bracketing's a separate.
That's for the film simulations, which is also a lot of fun. Those of you
who
films and want to try that, you can set that up too. Somebody says, somebody's commenting on walking and, you know, getting the refresh. Someone mentions the same feeling when taking a shower and running. That's great.
Running is a really good way to free your mind. My wife is a runner and she likes to run a very long way. In fact, she's running now. You know, she had a stressful thing happen a couple months ago. And so running is her happy place. She can be really stressed about something and she'll go off and just walk and run for hours and, you know, 20 miles and come back happy as a clam. You know, really sore, tired legs, but, you know, just move totally, you know, through the roof. So
yeah, movement. We're built to move. And so I know when I don't do enough of it, I get a little cranky.
So Carlos, action, do I use area autofocus or single point? For action, I usually use the area focus. So I'll, like with the XT series, like the XT2 and 3 and 4, I'll use zone autofocus, and I'll usually, depends what I'm shooting. So if I'm shooting something coming across the frame, I'll set the zone to the biggest size possible, or a big size. And if I'm shooting something that's staying in the same relative place in the frame, but maybe moving back and forth, I can make a smaller zone and position it right over the subject.
Hopefully that answers the question. Anybody have any questions? Just fire them off in the chat there. We're happy to answer.
Totally. How do you go back and look through? Can you go back and look through the older questions?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you can. I can't.
Oh, you can't?
I don't know if when I kind of scroll, they kind of disappear.
Really?
Yeah. So you have to read them off to me.
Yeah. So there aren't too many questions. There was, let's see. Oh, so Cameron posted an interesting link about how mindfulness can help your photography. That looks interesting. Dan's writing, photo work, and enthusiasm has been a great inspiration for years and still is.
So the mindfulness reminds me, I actually have a video course called Photography on the Brain.
Uh-huh.
And I really like this because it's a much more cerebral approach to photography and creativity. It's not tips based. It's not, well, turn this knob, you know, look, frame it this way, or is frame it this way, because it's framing is a much different, you know, than what shutter speed am I going to use. And so in a series of 30 lessons, I explore, you know, a real wide variety of topics, and some are a little bit more technical or more down to earth, and some are kind of out there, and which I like because it forces you to figure out how to apply these concepts to your own image making. Whether I'm talking about things like relationships or balance or perfection, stuff like that. So I'm really excited about the course. I finished it. I started doing it 2.5 years ago, just as a monthly course. And when I got 30 lessons, I bundled the whole thing to be a full course. So it's really
so
cool.
it's just something you're releasing now?
It's been building, and I finished the 30th lesson a few months ago, and I think December or January finally packaged the whole thing as the 30 lesson bundle. But you can also do it monthly as well. And that's how it started, because that gives you time to digest each lesson. It gives you, you know, because it's tough to get 30 lessons and then you'll watch 1 or 2, and then you'll say, well, I gotta go shoot, and well, I gotta go take the kids to soccer this week, and I can only have 1 day to get out with my camera, and suddenly have all this information clouding me. I like the 1 month approach where you have, oh, so this month, whenever I go out with my camera, which might only be 1 or 2 times, depending on how busy you are, I'm going to think this topic, and I'm going to focus on this activity. And maybe when I'm walking, I can like internalize and, you know, let my mind process and explore how I might go about applying this, because the assignments aren't always cut and dry. It's not like, okay, go bracket, you know, go try to shoot 3 different film simulations, or it's, you know, apply these cerebral concepts. But I think it's really awesome.
Where do people find that? On your website, right?
That's on my blog. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. He just posted it. Thank you, Cameron.
Cameron is the man.
Cameron's the man.
Cameron, I cannot wait to get back to Scotland. I've been 3 times and I'm just dying to go back.
I haven't gone once yet, so I'm, you know,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
I've done 2 of those trips were cycling trips. In fact,
I remember
the Instagram reel I posted 3 days ago, or the second most recent reel I have, is a short clip of me riding in Scotland.
So how do you feel? Reels made me think of this. How do you feel about playing a little music off the cuff? Are you a good off the cuffer? I guess he's a good off the cuffer. We did a little serenade.
Let's see it.
I'm loving it. This is great.
Sorry.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
That was fun.
That was a treat. I didn't expect that either.
I'm really good at noodling. I'm really good at and that's why the reels are so fun. Like, I don't have to write a full song. I'll just put the video up and just play whatever comes to mind.
Wow.
And that's been really fun. And so like when you talk about, well, the pressure, I got to make these pictures, I got to make these great photos because I did that last time. When you immerse yourself, it just comes. And so I started doing this reels. I did the first one. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of fun. I'm going to do another one. And a couple months later, I have like 25 of them on my channel. I'm like, 25 finished little pieces of music. And they're all very different styles. And some are guitar based and some are keyboard and synthesizer based and some, yeah, it's just, it's
awesome.
And so part of that is like, you give yourself an assignment. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go out and shoot, what do you enjoy? Well, I love, maybe you'll say, I love flowers. I love flowers. I'm going to go do a flower series. And it doesn't even have to be that. It doesn't have to be like the parameters of what it is don't have to be defined. It'll be defined once you start applying your own style to it.
Right.
And I think that's part of the expectations. We see pictures that we like and like, well, I saw Karen, she did these great train pictures and I have trains in my house, but mine are not interdimensional trains and I'm still waiting for one to come through the portal. But I have trains and I can go photograph trains the way I see trains. And you just get lost in the process and suddenly you've got 100 really great photos of trains and you could make a blurb book or you could put them like a website or you could just, doesn't even have to create anything because you've created those photos.
Right.
The presentation is entirely separate.
And so often people think, well, I'm not creative or I'm not an artist or, whatever. I mean, to really get good at what you do, you got to practice it and do it. But these are all the things Dan's saying are ways of getting yourself to be in motion, because you have to be moving and in motion and manifesting in order to create something to then make it better. That's, honestly part of the discipline of becoming good at anything. But then a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm not. So don't think that. Just keep creating because that's what we do as human beings. That's that's what makes us special is we create. That's what we do.
I mean, we're all creative. And it's a fact. One of the biggest things that makes us human is our capacity for creativity.
Yep.
And so everybody has that and everybody manifests it in a different way. And when you let go of those expectations, then you'll find yourself creating more. And so like the moving thing, I wrote a blog post about 10 years ago called Creative Ideas Don't Live at Your Desk. And so like we keep saying, put yourself in motion, go walk, go ride, go do anything that's not just sitting and thinking about how bad you are at photography. And the practice thing is absolutely, I mean, I've been playing since I was 15. I'm 50, I'll be 54 next week.
Wow, you're old.
I know, you just wait till you get to be 54, Karen.
Yeah, like, about 10 years, sure.
Yeah, well, at least 10 years. I mean, I play 13 and 14 right now. But yeah, the practice, but that comes from when you immerse yourself, you are practicing. And when you want to, so I'm, still in mourning about the world losing Eddie Van Halen because I grew up in the 80s. There was no one like Eddie.
He was the man.
He was so good. And he was gifted. He was absolutely gifted, but he also put in the time. His brother would go out drinking when they were teenagers and, leave the house at 8 p.m. and go cavort with the ladies and drink a bunch of beer. And he'd come and Eddie would just sit on the end of his bed practicing. Right. And Alex would come home at 3 a.m. and Eddie's still practicing.
Right.
And not because he said, I'm trying to, I have to practice because I'm going to get better. When you love to do something, when you're doing the thing that you love to do, you'll do it to the point where everything else will fall away and you'll just keep doing it. And that's the immersion aspect.
Right.
And when you immerse yourself in anything, you will get better. You will improve.
Yep.
It's immersion. You gotta
have the, gotta have balls to immerse, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta be willing to do it, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah, and some of that is the expectation, and you know, singing is a really good example, and part of that is, you know, or speaking in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of thing. It's the thing that most people say they're not good at.
Right.
But anybody can sing. Anybody can go and just sing stuff, and whether it's on key or not is kind of irrelevant. And one of the things I learned, so I've actually, I started doing a music course online from a guy who's really funny. He's like the Dan Bailey of singing lessons. He's like this dorky guy who is super excited and really matter of fact and real world, and not like, okay, we're going to practice these scales and these theories. It's just like, make these funny sounds and figure out what your voice does when you make these sounds. And when you start to understand how your voice works, you can use those different sounds to create, you know, different vocalizations, and then you can apply those to singing. And so the thing is, I'll just give you one example. Most of us don't have a high range. Like, I have a pretty deep voice, and I can't sing high very much. And so the problem is, we have this expectation that, oh, when I start singing, it's going to sound really bad. But he had this really innovative approach where we actually can vocalize things in a really strange way that's incredibly high.
Yeah.
When we're just talking.
Yeah.
We're just talking. But what if you tried to sing that high?
Uh-huh.
And so it's just this way to just think about talking, using your talking voice to sing. And so his practice was, come up with one line and just talk it that has different high inflections. Like the one I came up with, I put a pencil in my pocket, or something like that. And so I just sit there and just play guitar, play a chord, and just say that. And then when you start saying that to music, it's like, oh my God, things start to be unlocked.
Yeah.
And then when you put in the practice, when you put in the time, you learn, oh, my voice does this when I do it this way. And it's the same thing with the camera. Mm-hmm. Well, what if I try this lens? Mm-hmm. I've never used the 56 for shooting action. I've never used a telephoto for shooting macro. I've never done this. You know, you can't shoot a portrait with a wide angle lens. You have to use the short telephoto.
Right.
You can't shoot an environmental portrait with the 80-200 or the 50-140. Well, once you start breaking out of these boxes and just dispelling notions of what you can and can't do,
right,
the world opens up.
That's why limitations, I think, are so good for artists. You know, when you like the limited, like when you were earlier talking about taking out, you know, what was it, the XE1 and the XT20 and
the little X20.
Yeah.
Little guy.
Yeah. And you did one thing with one and one thing with the other, and then square aspect ratio, limit, and then came up with really interesting. Really interesting. I can see you doing that. That's actually how he photographs you guys. You just kind of goes like that.
I'm such a spaz.
Yeah, but the stuff you come up with is just incredible. So anyway, we're just about at time. This has flown freaking by.
Oh my God, this was so awesome. It's just what I needed. I totally miss these kind of discourses and this back and forth, and especially with you.
Oh, it's just, well, and you. So like
you.
The more I do, no, you.
No, you.
I want to arm wrestle.
Imagine me, Jack Graham, trying to run a serious photography workshop with just two kids in the back.
Poor guy. It's like bing, 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 bing all over the room.
Crazy kids.
He never invited us back together again.
we were never invited anywhere together.
Yeah.
So for a while, my sister and I weren't allowed to visit my dad at the same time.
Really?
It's the same kind of thing.
I know.
Too much.
Totally
too much
out.
fun.
Yeah. Somebody says do it.
We're okay
often.
now, but.
Yeah. Well, so the more I do these, you know, and I like sharing some of my stuff, but I'm kind of like obsessed with bringing my friends on, and we just talk, you know, we just talk about all these things, and it's just so much fun. So what I started off, those of you who came in knew, what I started off saying is this Friday series won't happen. This Friday series won't happen next Friday because I'll be speaking for Fujifilm Camera. Link in my bio. But I will continue somehow. I'm kind of wanting to change platforms or change this up. I want to keep doing it, but I actually really need some horizontal video. And then Instagram has done some funky other things that I'm not too thrilled with. So we'll see.
Like
yeah,
that?
right? Yeah, that works. Super helpful. Thanks, Dan. Yeah. You see how it is, you guys, when we're together, it's just nuts. Anyway, so the more I do this with my friends, I'm like, and on top of it, I'm working on some other things I might be reaching out about, but I'm just like, we got to put ourselves together out there because something different happens when we come together than happens by ourselves.
It's responsive.
Yeah.
It's the whole responsive thing. And that's why I probably haven't done these live things, because I know that, well, maybe people would want to see me just sit there and blah, 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 by myself. But I guess that's my YouTube channel. I just sit there and talk. But this is so much more fun to do it in a responsive way.
Yeah,
and just feed back and forth.
Yeah,
so
it is. And you can always just pick a topic and go, or just go, what are you up to? Or what are you having trouble with? Or whatever. I just need, if you ever do it, want to invite me, just give me time to get my face on.
Okay. Well, yeah, we should do
I don't
these
clean
more
up
often.
as good as you do, as fast. What?
I just put my hat on.
Yeah, well.
We should do these more often because, you and I always do really well.
Yeah.
And one thing that, Karen and I discovered, that we're just like, she's up here, I'm down here. We're just like, she's straight, I'm sideways. She's outside, I'm inside full of guitars. Or she's standing in front of the train tracks, which is very dangerous. That interdimensional train's going to come through the portal.
Right?
So we're and extremely different approaches to photography, but we discovered that we have the exact same message, just delivered in a very different format. Which is great because not everybody's going to hear it one way or the other. And then, I just, my mind is starting to kind of blow up a little bit now that, because, Bobby was on last week, and then Hilmar was on the week before. Rick Salmon's been on twice, played his guitar. Deb Sandage has been here. And I'm just like, well, maybe I should do these in the hopes that people would join me, because I like the back and forth. I would love to do.
Yeah, me too. So let's, would you guys like that? I hope. Anyway.
No, get this guy out of here.
Get it out of here. All right. I don't want to keep you guys anymore. Out of respect, I just keep this to an hour. Dan Bailey, freaking thank you for jumping in here. Yes. Yes. I loved every second of it.
My newest guitar, the purple one, the purple and chrome one. That was my birthday present to myself last year.
Wow. That's electric. We'll have to do one where you're all set up.
Yeah.
And can play that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's somebody suggested we should get Rick on here and you guys could jam together. There's actually, I don't know how that would work with the latency, but there's actually a way that people are doing it. Jamulous. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I haven't followed on those things, but I know that the technology for streaming multiple sites for music stuff has really ramped up in the past couple of years.
Yeah,
for some strange reason. There's like some catalyst that made it all, go.
Yeah, so I don't know. We may just have to have a concert, like a presentation, visual concert. I could dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be fun. All right, seriously, we can go
This
on all
was so
day.
much fun. Thanks for prompting me to get on and do this with you.
Thanks for doing it.
Thanks for like, you can join. Okay.
Yeah, I know I'm nothing for a while. I'm like, come on, Dan, come on. I know you can do it. I'm like poking. Come on, poke and response.
No, this was so much fun. So.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go post the third episode of my 10-year X series retrospective, and this is a big episode.
Yay!
So
hit me with 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, I'll talk to you really soon.
Karen, I miss you so much.
I miss you too. And you guys, really thank you. Those of you who are watching, thank you so much. Love to you all, and Dan will be talking.
Bye, Karen.
Bye.